Hi guys, Carcer back again with another few games of Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2. Um, it seems like there is a sale on again, so multiplayer has kind of spiked for a little while at least. So might as well jump in and make the most of it. I think unfortunately for this round of games, as what usually happens when the sale is on, it's going to be kind of newer players, but at least we get a few games. What I'm kind of hoping for is that the influx of new players will drag all the old pedobear veterans out of the woodwork, and I'll get a few games against them. But I guess we'll just have to see what we land with. So we are taking the Bloodaxe fleet, consisting of 4 hammers, 2 tethers, and then 7 onslaughts for the escorts. Obviously with the Bloodaxe Commander training for invisible fun. First up we're playing the Tau Protector fleet, being flown by Schneller. So points are fairly well clustered together, just arranged in a band across the middle of the map. Generally, points play is not something you have to worry about with Tau, because they don't have much in the way of high speed options for really playing like the kitey point capping game. Certainly nothing that can capture points quickly. Like, no fast battleships really. So should just be a fairly straightforward engagement with them. Right, I'm just looking through the fleet here. So I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking it's probably just going to be a bunch of cruisers. Yep. Yeah, a bunch of cruisers with escorts. So that's fine. So I'm going to move my the main fleet up the very left-hand edge of the map. I'm just going to try and avoid detection and get a surprise jump on the enemy, and then just have my escorts capture points around the map. They did send out fighters, but it doesn't look like they're going anywhere near my cruisers and battle cruisers, which is good. And hopefully I should have time to capture at least the closest points to me at the start. Enemy's keeping his whole fleet together. Okay, and he's boosting, so I think he wants to try and catch my escorts here. So I'm just going to back them off and try and draw him in, because then I can move my cruisers across to capture. I don't want to move my cruisers across just yet though, because he's going to probably pop scanner pulses on his escorts. And I don't want the fleet to get caught out and ruin the surprise just yet. So I'll put one in this gas cloud, then I'll continue the other one down to the asteroid belt, just so they can't both be spotted together by a single group of fighters if he sends out more of those. I suppose I might as well just move him off. Okay, no, he's moving away anyway, so. So it looks like he's not biting on those 2 escorts, which is a shame. That's fine, so I'll just move them up and start capping again. So it does look like he's wanting to just take a few points. I imagine he wants to get at least 3 points off the bat. He still has no clue where my fleet is. I've got them on hold fire as well, just so they don't accidentally give their position away. Okay, so that's those two escorts spotted. So I'm just going to boost them back and try and re-stealth in this cloud. He does have plenty of escorts though, so he'll be able to get them respotted again. So this is kind of a pain. I was kind of hoping that he was just going to go for those two escorts on the left hand side, which would have enabled me to just catch him straight away. But he decided to haul ass right across the map instead. So he's now going to have 3 capture points. I currently have 0. I should have the left hand one captured pretty shortly. I want to avoid this red point for the moment with my main fleet and just capture it with my escorts, because I don't want to reveal them yet. I do have another group of escorts hidden down here in the asteroid belt, so they can, once this fleet moves back across to the left hand side, which I'll hopefully do once I start decapping their top left point, then I can move them up and start capping these points over in the right hand here. Although if everything goes according to plan, the enemy should now boost back across to where I am and just run head first into my stealthed cruisers and battle cruisers. What I would ideally like to do is not be spotted and not have the engagement go off until I'm right in amongst the middle of his ships, just so he doesn't get a chance to fire off any secret missiles. Or if he does fire off secret missiles, you know, our fleets will be so mixed in amongst each other that there's just as likely to hit his own ships as to hit mine. Okay, I think it's time to spring the trap. Hello. Right, let's see if we can catch ourselves a flagship. Like a slight bit of lag in setting off the stasis bomb there. Drop a couple of boarding actions off. Yeah, his shields are still up. Yep, this is exactly what you do want to be as a Tau player. Tractor slam. I was hoping to catch the escort as well, just take the last couple of hit points off of him, but I'm sure he'll go down momentarily.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
I was taking a couple of Manta bomber hits there. Should probably have put a fighter screen up to stop that from happening, but I think it's going to be too little too late at this point. His flagship's half dead. 2 other cruisers are gone. Okay, now we can bring our escorts into play, start capping these points just in case everything goes tits up. That's another 6 boarding actions on the flagship, so he's definitely, well, he's mutinied now anyway. But I'll take him down to red crew step. Not that it matters, because he's dead. Another tractor slam, so we've got that one ship on fairly low morale. I do have the decks targeted on all these ships. Looks like the deck on the rear ship is gone already, but the deck in the front ship is still active. Managed to intercept his Manta bombers there. Yep, he's not interested in going into the stasis bubble, which yep, it was an easy catch for me. Oh god damn it. Yeah. So that was good. Took a little longer than I would have liked to get the engagement off, but yeah, that went pretty well. That's pretty much textbook what you want to do. Just like I say, capture points and be a little baity distraction with your escorts, and then hopefully just get a nice ambush off with your main fleet. Certainly what you'd like to do against kind of long range fleets like the Tau. Got pretty limited brawling capabilities. The TIE Protectors have a pretty rough time against Orks anyway, just because of the kind of front-facing firing arcs, so they can't really kite away. Well, I mean they're pretty slow for one thing, and they can't really fire at you while they're kiting away. Quite difficult. So unless they're able to put themselves in an advantageous position early on in the match, then it's very difficult for them to deal with Orks. So, second game, we've got Dominus Analorum. Dominus Analorum. So he is going to be flying the Necrons. I'm taking the same fleet again. Slightly different configuration of skills and abilities. So with the Necrons, Tractor Cannon is not super useful, especially if it's Cairns or anything. I mean, it can be moderately okay if like he's got a lot of light cruisers or whatever, but oftentimes they can just escape it using the using their teleport. So I've just taken the Plasma Bomb, which just gives you a nice bit of damage. Like it's basically a guaranteed punish once they have used said teleport. And I've also taken the Wah. Just to give me that extra bit of critical chance when boarding. Because just boarding Necron ships to death is a fantastic way to deal with them. They're certainly less susceptible to Ork mega cannons than most fleets. Just due to that all-round 85 armor, 83 armor, whatever. So that you can't really get those nice juicy rear shots and do a huge amount of damage that way. So yeah, boarding's good. Anything, things like the Plasma Bomb, I think it pretty much ignores armor then. Always quite handy. So I'll have a single escort capture this point on the right here. Move a group up into the center. And I'm not seeing any enemies, so presumably that means he's taken a completely light cruiser fleet, which you don't see very often, but it's quite cool. I was actually playing around with a sort of mixed Kopesh and Shroud Necron fleet the other day. It seems quite fun, might be quite effective. I love the lightning link ability. That's a really cool one to sort of pop off. So, you know, if you can get a surprise, if you can surprise the enemy, or maybe lock them in place with a stasis bomb, or if it's, you know, something like Orks, for example, where once they've boosted, then they're horribly immobile. That lightning link is a fantastic ability. You can do a huge amount of damage. If you're really lucky, you can catch multiple ships in it as well, but kind of tricky. So just going to spread my fleet out here a little bit. Well, my escorts anyway. Don't want to capture that point. I'm pretty sure he's just going to jump a bunch of light cruisers into that central point. So I'm not going to cap it just yet. I'm just going to spread out, wait for him to start capping it, and then I can pop a scanner pulse and then just start firing away from stealth with my escorts. Okay, we have a Doom Scythe coming in. He's going to spot. He's going to spot my escort here.
The enemy has seized a
The
strategic
fighters are just going to patrol though. So again, have my main fleet moving up the left hand side here, and I'm pretty sure that there should be a few ships at least that are going to be making a beeline for my lone escort on the left hand point there. Okay, so there's two of the enemies. I think if you take these light cruiser fleets, you can usually fit, I think it's like 5 or 6. Yes, but you can get more if it's something like the cheaper ones, like the Second.
The enemy has seized a strategic
I fucked up there. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to leave the circle.
You have seized a strategic area.
If I just left it a couple of seconds, would have been fine. But as a consolation prize, here's my little Necron buddies. So I was going to try and get some boarding actions off now before he teleports away. Luckily he teleports right in front of me, so I can still shoot him. Let's see if we can get that plasma bomb punish off. That's the thing, the light cruisers, they are kind of agile enough they can avoid it, but okay, I catch the rear one, that's a nice bit of damage. I'll just move my escort up to recapture this point. And yep, looks like they're shrouds, they're not seconds or anything, so that's fine. Means they don't have any star pulse generators, which is good. Start plugging away with my escorts on these guys as well. As I say, they do have that all-round 83 armor, but just with the sheer volume of firepower and the fact they've only got a small amount of hit points because they're light cruisers, yeah, escorts can definitely do a good bit of damage against these guys. I think they are on dispersed lightning arc though, so I'll have to watch out for that because they'll be able to hit all my escorts at the same time. But I mean, with only 2 of these ships, it's not going to be a huge amount of firepower anyway. We'll just have the fighters finish him off. So now we've just got the flagship plus what, one more light cruiser plus whatever escorts he's got. So unfortunately I don't have any beacons available. Not that it matters because he's right there. And I see. So he didn't have them on. He didn't have them on silent running. So they must have been, yeah. So they're obviously all shrouds then. So he just got them stealthed up in like a gas cloud or whatever, and then he revealed himself with a teleport. Well, that's good. So we know where he is now. We'll start cruising the fleet over. Put some fighters on him just to keep him spotted in case he does decide to go silent running, and I'll move this escort down to make sure I'll be able to get a scanner pulse off. I'll just fire that off if it looks like they're going to re-stealth. Not a huge amount of travel time for the fighters, they should reach them.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
And wait for it. Okay, pulse. I'll definitely get the fighters in. So I think he thinks that the lightning orb can kill fighters. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So we're just going to split this group of escorts up a little bit, have them capping those points over there, just in case this turns into a capture fuckfest. Okay, so he has now gone on to, he has gone to silent running now with his flags. So he's trying to re-stealth. But luckily, we've still got our fighters there. And yeah, they're doing a nice bit of damage as well. Just chipping away at the flagship's health. They've only got 6 point defense guns on these ships, so fighters should be able to stay there for quite a while. Oh, I must have teleported away. Bummer. No matter. It's kind of a pest as well, because now my fighters are going to give away the position of my fleet. But I think it was probably worth it. So chances are, I mean, I suppose he could be trying to double back on himself and head down to that bottom right point, but I mean, that would only net him the 1, and basically all of the bulk of the rest of the points on the left hand side of the map, left half of the map anyway. So, oh, okay, he's just ran straight into my ships, that's good. Right, so we'll get some boarding actions off on this one, just make sure he's nice and crippled, and then, yeah, okay. He's just giving it the old silent GG there. So that was cool, it was nice to see a light cruiser fleet from the Necrons. I don't think he should have split them up like he did. Like, if I was him, I would probably have kept all the light cruisers together as a bit of a wolf pack, and then just had the escorts capture. I think he could have made better use of his Doom South transfers for scouting as well. Because even if you could just get like one little spot off at the start of the game, you know, at least you kind of know vaguely what ballpark area the enemy fleet's in. Whereas he was caught completely by surprise when I made that first engagement. And then seemingly again when I caught up with him at the end. So in this match, we do have Dominus in Alorum again. This time he's going to be jumping over into the Orks. Give them a go. Good man, quite right. Orks is best. So for the Orks, again, we're taking slightly different equipment again. So we're back to the tractor cannon and stasis bubble. Tractor cannon is fantastic against Orks because you can make them ram themselves, or you can deflect their big red button boost when they try to ram you. Obviously, making Orks ram themselves is a great tactic because take a big morale hit, especially if you're not in brace for impact. And yeah, basically breaking Orcs' morale is the best way to beat Orcs. And obviously the stasis bomb, again, you just use that to, when they go for the big charge, use the stasis bubble to mess that up. So you maybe block half the fleet, which then allows you to bring your full firepower to bear on the other half. Which is what you want to do again with Orcs, is take them out one by one. You want to engage as few ships as possible at any one time when you're playing Orc v Orc.
The enemy has seized a strategic
And make
area.
sure your frontal armour is facing towards them. Try not to get surrounded. Obviously, you say that, but then when the game comes around, it's often kind of a different story. And yeah, I've also for the skills, I've taken the another bridge, which just allows you to stay in stance even though your deck's been destroyed, which is useful because usually you want to be in lock-on stance for these like Orc v Orc mega cannon engagements. That just allows you to stay in there. Oftentimes people will be targeting your decks as well when you're playing Orcs, so yeah, that's definitely a useful skill to have. And I've not bothered with commander training for this. It's not really going to be useful particularly. When you're playing Orc v Orc, it's 99% of the time it's just going to be two fleets smashing into each other. I mean, you can use the little bit of your concealment to give yourself a bit of an advantage, make the engagement better, but I don't know. It's not something I find particularly useful with Orcs, and so I've just taken Wasongs instead. So I'll be able to pop that off. If it looks like my flagship's about to die, I can just get the Wasongs popped off. And then that'll prevent the rest of my fleet from doing a mass mutiny. And happy days, it looks like we are going to catch out the enemy flagship, who he has separated off completely, which is a big no-no for Orcs. You do not want to be doing that ever. So I'm just going to pounce on him with everything I have available up here. The onslaughts will strip his shields down in record time. I'll just fire off a few boarding actions in case I do miss the assault craft with boarding actions, just in case I miss him. Ah, dang it. So unfortunately I do get caught in a group of fighters, but I should be able to deal with them easily enough. Although, yeah, okay, yeah, that's worked out pretty well. Right, so it's going to boost my escorts behind the enemy flagship, and use the stasis bomb for a little bit of crowd control, but we're getting the side and rear shots now, so that's the enemy flagship done for. Just about to break. Okay, so he did use his rally. Another chunk of boarding actions off there. So unfortunately I didn't have tractor cannon available just then, otherwise it could have caused a fantastic pile up of the enemy ships, although he does still ram one of his ships up the arse, thanks to the stasis bubble, so that's good. But the enemy flagship's dead. So now we're into the close range engagement. I've just swapped over onto reload stance, and now we'll just get a few rams off. Didn't look like the ship that I did that took any damage from that side ram at all. That's kind of strange. Okay, so there's the mass mutiny. So yeah, all his decks are still available. Unfortunately, he did have decks targeted. But so next time the mutiny comes, enemy's not going to get a chance to use. Yeah, to use the execute mutineers. Just going to piece out with my flagship just now, actually, because he's starting to get a bit low. Enemy was trying to focus him. Also, he's on fire. I've still got 50 seconds to go until rally. Although his deck is still, yeah, deck's still fine. So it turned into a bit of a schmoz.
50%.
It's, yeah, that I certainly could have done that cleaner. If I hadn't used the tractor cannon and I'd had it for when his ships all boosted in like that. I mean, you could have just taken the lead one, pushed it sort of sideways across the front of the pack that was charging in. You probably could have had 3 or 4 of those ships all crash into each other. Which again, not only would they have caused damage to each other, but they probably would have pushed them sideways or spun them around completely, so then my fleet could be getting like rear and side shots off on them. Murder them in pretty short order.
The enemy has accumulated 25%.
See, so that's a good example I was talking about, where you can deflect the enemy ram. So he would have just rammed straight through all my escorts there. And so you just use the tractor just to pull them out of the way. Then once the tractor effect wears off, they'll still continue forward on their boost. So another thing you can do actually with that is make them boost into like the celestial objects and things, as well as their own ships, which can be quite good fun. I think he was a little bit too far back for me to do that. Remember in the first game, there used to be those minefields everywhere. That used to be great fun to tractor cannon people into the minefields. Of course, back in game 1, you could have tractor cannons on like every single one of your ships, which was fucking insane. So you could just like have a fleet with like, you know, like 10, 11 light cruisers, all with tractor cannons. Which was, yeah, a little bit cheesy to say the least, but great fun if you're using it. Okay, another matchup. This time we've got Cartoon. He's going to be flying Chaos. Chaos can certainly be problematic for Orks. If they decide to kite around and if they play the cap game, although in this case I think we're in luck because the capture points are all fairly close together. They're kind of arranged in a strip going diagonally across the map. So you've got a nice cluster with 3 points up in the top right there, and then 2 points fairly close together in the bottom left, which also has gas cloud cover, which is great. So that means that any kind of play where they try to sort of skirt around the map capturing points isn't going to be very effective. If indeed it is that kind of Chaos fleet, which we shall see. My fleet's unchanged. As far as skills, we're just back to the commander training. Definitely want to remain stealth for as long as possible against Chaos. Just prevent them from peppering us with their lances as we approach. Tractor cannon stasis bubble for catching fleeing ships, and another bridge so we can stay in stance. Again, probably lock on because for the portion of the engagement where you're trying to catch them, then it's nice to be able to just keep peppering them down, get shields down, so you can maybe get some lightning strikes off. I mean, like the artillery guns that these ships have that are longer range, you know, they're pretty useless. Like they don't do much damage, but I mean, they're with, you know, a group of six or seven ships, you can't use them to pepper shields down at least, which then, yeah, like I say, allows you to lightning strike, and maybe if you're really super lucky, get like an engine crit. Because when they are running away from you, then obviously you've just got that 50 rear armor to get through. So you can sometimes do a bit of work, but I mean, but then yeah, you do want to be in lock-on stance just to make sure that you're Heavy guns and mega cannons have got that 9k range. So obviously 4.5k, you're not catching shit. So moving up the right hand side, hoping I'm going to be able to reach them in time before they swing into the other side of the map. In retrospect, I should probably have moved my fleet up the other side of the map. Because I figured this is what he would do, would be to try to capture those 3 points on the right and then swing across to the left, and then I could have hit him head on.
You got it. The fight is over here.
You have seized a strategic area.
So what was that? Was that just a battleship?
Orks is best.
Okay, it looks like it's hanging fire. That's good.
What do you want?
So I'm just gonna take them off of hold fire, and I'll just move my escort up, and then I'll fire off a pulse. Oh no!
Here we go.
How did-
Enemy ship sighted.
You have seized
Um,
a strategic area.
Not quite sure what happened there. I don't know why that one guy got spotted. Didn't I don't think I was in spotting
The
range.
enemy has seized a strategic area.
All of the ships used their all ahead full, but like only the nearest ship got spotted at first, and then randomly one other ship got spotted. That was strange. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit because I didn't want to forget to press my deactivate hold fire. So obviously as soon as that guy revealed himself, then I started blasting away, which is a bit of a pest. So didn't quite get the engagement I wanted, but I'm still reasonably close. Close enough that I can murder one of these ships fairly easily. Okay, so he fires off the Slaaneish's Promise, or whatever it's called. Doesn't catch the flagship though, so we're able to get the tractor cannon off just to keep this one ship a bit closer. Right, get a few boarding actions off.
Move that junk.
I've got engines targeted,
We smashed up on the enemy
which I think is
ship.
probably going to be the most important to do in this particular matchup.
Boss, we smashed up on the enemy ship. Boarding boys.
So the enemy is in reload stance. All the ships are in reload stance, which is good. That'll make my fighter's life a bit easier, especially since I've managed to get one ship kind of separated from the pack. So he should take pretty decent damage from the fighter bomber squadrons that just sit on him. So I'll leave them to it, and then I'll just go after the rest of his fleet with the bulk of mine.
You ain't the boss of me. Orks is best. Red boys, get to work, you lazy kids.
And so we're now into the standard Orc v Chaos gameplay, where it's just kitey. Although luckily he has chosen to take a fleet of just battleships and grand cruisers, which means they're not that fast. Okay, it's dropping down another stasis bomb. Just avoid that.
To your props.
So he's moving over to the left. I think he's going to try and get
The fight is over.
around my fleet, but I'm not going to allow that to happen. Just going to move along with him, keep him trapped up in this top left corner. We should catch another one of his ships now. In you pop.
You have accumulated
And the guy mutinied just in time for my rally to come back up, which is great.
The fight is over here.
Let's keep the fighters on this guy. He's in pretty low health.
That's not supposed to burn. Fix it. He's ready.
We're just peppering away. They are getting few odd bomber attacks, but yeah, there goes Slash's promise again, along with a stasis.
Fire bombers. Begin back attack.
I think the stasis is actually going to catch his own ship as well. Alright, just avoid it. So I managed to come out, get out with one of mine, and he's dead.
You got it. Reloading.
So the fighters on that top ground cruiser have completely stripped away his point defense.
You got it, boss.
So that's good. Anything I send against him is just going to be left unmolested.
Move that junk.
May as well just focus on getting this flagship down.
seized a strategic area.
Okay, he did fire off a fighter squadron. That's good. Any fighter squadrons that he puts out are squadrons which are not bombing my fleet, so that's cool. We have caught the flagship now. Meanwhile, I've got my escorts capturing points across the map, so we're now sitting on 3, and that goes 4 capture points.
Teleport strike work, boss.
And it's just a case of chasing him down now.
Orks is best. Faster, you grubs.
There's still that one ship.
Wait,
Notice him? How did he go? Seems like he's in actually pretty good nick. Honestly, didn't even notice that. I thought that was just a mutiny ship or something. That's fine. I'll have to divert a couple of my ships to take him out.
reloading.
I didn't quite get the boring action off on the enemy flagship there, unfortunately. But quick tractor ram should kill morale. Yeah, here's a mutiny. So his deck's now gone. Pretty sure the deck on the flagship's gone. And I will have yep, and I'll have my rally back up in about 25 seconds.
You have accumulated 75% of strategic points.
Okay, it's the enemy flagship dealt with, just this one remaining Grand Cruiser now.
It's not supposed to burn. Fix it. Yeah.
Don't think the strike craft made it in, but I did get the boarding action off. See if we can go for a ram. If not, another boarding action. Oh, let's cruise the rest of the fleet over as well.
The enemy has accumulated.
Don't think this fleet had any escorts at all.
They got one of our ships, boss.
So I'm guessing a newer player. I mean, he was doing a pretty good job with the kiting, as far as you can do with these kind of ships.
Folding is what Orks do best.
I mean, I don't think this is a particularly effective chaos fleet. I'm just trying to think of a scenario where this would be that good, but I mean, it could get out-brawled by Imperial fleets. It doesn't really have the speed and maneuverability to avoid, like seeker missiles and things. It can't really kite that well, even against Orks. Yeah. But, alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.